Anime, tits, and gambling. These are the two fundamental pillars of Tower of Nonfiction, which is an open-world action anime exploitation and exploration game developed entirely by the Chinese government, and much like titles such as Breath of the Wild 2, it was heavily inspired by Gangsta Impact. Although the biggest of many differences between Gamma Radiation Impact and Tower of Fat Titties is that this one is an MMORPG. Cyberfunkin' in the junkyard of vibe, you will at many times find yourself role-playing in a position of agony, as you are not only struggling for more nuclei to hopefully get one of those sweet and savory SSRIs, but also due to the fact that you are deprived of human contact at the most crucial of moments. The world chat is full of people looking for groups, tackling challenges together, whether it be world bosses, dungeons, raids, etc. And the game enforces a social codependency, encourages cooperative play, and nudges you to socialize without outright bitch slapping you with it, and it somehow executes it better than nearly any other MMORPG on the market, but simultaneously also allows for a completely satisfying experience when playing solo, if you're a fucking loser. Essentially what this game did was take the gacha formula, tone it down a little bit, turn it into an MMORPG, and slap on a really rad cyberfunkin' aesthetic. And you know what? It's actually pretty cyber fun. Now I know you're busy, so let's get down to ass tacks. What's there to do in Tower of Cosmicism literature, other than gamble for ladies with big anime tits? I'll tell you what, there's a story that I skipped through and paid no attention to whatsoever, but is essential in progression and unlocking features that are crucial for progression in the game. Matter of fact, before you're even able to gaze upon one set of anime baboopers, or gamble even once, you have to choose between two pre-selected characters and do a dragged-out narrative-driven tutorial before you're actually able to make your fucking character. This is a really weird decision and all around a very bold move, and one that I'm not really fucking with. But the fact that the character creation that comes afterwards is so nuanced and detailed makes up for it greatly. Especially the anime titty jiggle physics. I made my sexy fuck of a character Riona from Senran Kagura, and was able to embark on my dopamine-ridden adventure. I was able to make a guild, and wondered if the name Gay was taken. I typed it in, thinking that the game would tell me the name was already taken, or show me a prompt asking me if I was sure I wanted to name my guild that. But there was no confirmation of any kind, and no prompt whatsoever. It just slapped that name on there and told me to fuck a harmonica and get out of here. So now, my guild name is Gay. To be frank, however, being Riona in a guild called Gay wasn't something I was entirely expecting when opening this game on night 1, but I've got an open mind, and I'm all for whatever comes of this. As you skip through the story and spam through all of the dialogue, you have more and more features shoved down your throat, like a weird child who I wish would perish cooks for you at gunpoint to give you experience and buffs. The commission system from Gandhi Impact is here. There's Spacegate things, roguelike shit, newcomer rewards, a battle pass, gambling, anime tits. You get the picture. But alongside all the overwhelming menus and rewards, you also get a jetpack, double jump, a fucking hoverboard, mounts, multiple in-air dashes, and so many more fun ways to move about, because there's gonna be a lot of that. But the game is essentially fuck you, go explore, so you can get dark crystals which you can use to purchase nuclei, which offer chances at anime women with big honkers in something known as gambling. But I'll be real with you, even if the world didn't reward you with gambling chips to use to get ladies with big mommy milkers, I'd still explore it, because a lot like the anal region of the groin, it's 100% worth exploring. It's an absolute joyride to utilize all the fun styles of movement, enjoying the jiggle physics as you go from one poppingly wicked location to another. It's just downright fun. The aesthetic of the world is a cyberpunk sci-fi junkyard vibe, with whimsical humor, jazzy bangers straight from the sea of liquid bop, playing right into your ears and bouncing across your eardrums and shit, and an extraordinary use of scale and lighting. I would say I was having an okay time with the game, until I got to the fucking junkyard puppet carnival Sky Island, to which I would say I was having an absolute tanal of a time. 1 minute, you're grazing the fields and fighting a big boobied flower anime woman, and the next you're on a massive abandoned beach ship in the rain, surrounded on all sides by ramshackled skyscrapers of fiction. The world absolutely slaps the king. Essentially, the world is full of distractions that reward you handsomely. You even have percentage bars for each zone's exploration status, and the more you explore the world, the more rewards you receive, involving cosmetics, upgrade materials, and currencies used to gamble to get anime girls with big tits. And the content to do within the world outside of sheer exploration, such as ruins, world bosses, dungeons, quests, etc., sound about as boring as a mime's funeral, with names like Void Rifts or Bygone Phantasm, but are actually executed so well it puts the French radicals in the 18th century to shame. The ruins especially, for they have an abandoned medieval aesthetic to them, and feel genuinely disconnected from the rest of the cyberfunkin' punkin world outside, with ancient statues and temples that provoke an odd dissonance, all filled with unique puzzles and traps that revolve around using certain items, pressure plates, elements, so on and so forth, that all culminate in a final boss fight or secret and a pyramid chest at the end as a cherry on top. However, I will admit that there is a heap of shit thrown onto you to do, to the point where it's a tad overwhelming, but at least it's all somewhat nuanced. There's Bygone Phantasm, an endless spiral abyss-like dungeon with daily weapon bonus rotations, and a worldwide leaderboard that resets weekly. A roguelike activity where you basically play Risk of Rain 2 but with big anime tits, and then fight a boss, world bosses that require multiple players and some amount of communication, party-based activities, side quests, mount farming, letting a kid with a speech impediment cook for you, which feels mildly illegal. The list goes on and on and on, and it's not stopping anytime soon, dude. There's even PvP, which I haven't touched because I was too busy touching a woman romantically. I'm sorry. The rewards that you get boils down to grinding currencies that help nudge you towards gambling for big tits. Except the big tits are actually weapons, and it's kind of hard to explain. You're not actually gambling for the baboopers. You're actually gambling for the weapons that these ladies with the big badonker-donkers are holding. And the women are actually just pretty much skins that you can wear once you get the weapon. Now, in my experience, I have found that I'm not all too into wearing other people's flesh, believe it or not. So I stick to my own super bangin' character and just use the weapons instead. They have unique rarities, going from rare to super rare to super rare, or R, SR, and SSR for short. And for my first hour and a half of play, I genuinely, to my core, believed fully in my heart that they were R, SR, and SSRI, and the game was attempting to force selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors down my throat. But luckily enough, it's not the average American psychiatrist trying to make money off of suffering, so that wasn't a problem for me, for once. The other day, I knocked over my neighbor's mailbox for shits and giggles, and their kid's birthday card came out of it. They had 25 bucks in that bad boy, so you know what I did? I used that money to purchase the battle pass, and got a sexy outfit for it. I am now level 105 on it. At the time of writing this script, I am seriously ill and take prescription medication. In my playtime, I have gotten a number of SSRs to drop, but the only one that matters is the fiery chaos scythe from King.
Do you have the money? Do you have the money? Do you have the money?
The scythe is the best part of the game. Being able to feed that starving little edgelord in me and quench the thirst for a massive scythe you can swing around like a fucking curtain rod made my brain flood with dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, and cause irreversible damage to my central nervous system. Every time that I'm in combat and I'm swinging around my massive fire scythe, laughing my ass off as everyone is stun-locked into a combo and then literally vaporized into cataclysmic dust, I come to realize that I am Abaddon, the biblical angel of the bottomless pit and king of chaos. The book of Revelation was right. I've come from the abyss, and I brought crowned locusts, and I'm ready to cleanse the world of what I deem to be sin. By the way, did you guys know that this game actually inspired the Bible? And the best part of this gambling gacha system is, even if you don't want to gamble for anime tit quality weapons, you can actually just play the fucking game and be rewarded with a box that lets you choose any SSR weapon that you want after extensive play. This is a damn good design choice, but you know what isn't a damn good design choice? Flavored toothpaste. The very thought of it makes my gums bleed. A cinnamon mint flavor. But another bad design choice is the resin system carried over from other gacha titles, though in this game it's called Vitality. I understand its use and importance, where you can't loot certain chests from group activities like dungeons or raids if you don't have it, and you only have a certain amount of it per day to prevent you from fucking dying at your computer chair, but it gets real annoying real fucking fast. I personally hate it when games limit the amount of fun that there is to be had. However, the game actually offers an alternative. Unlike a lot of other gacha games with the same systems, you could pay for more time or explore the world to get gambling tokens to then use to purchase more time to play the game. You essentially play the game so you can play the game more, and while I see how this is predatory and see how it's quite a bit scummy, I have gotta respect it, because the game itself is fun enough that I find myself replenishing all of my resin without even knowing any time has passed. Speaking of things that have passed, JFK is fucking dead, and so are all the enemies, after I used my spin span spun attack. And oh yeah, that reminds me, let's talk about the combat. In Tower of Mystery, weapons have their own elements, stats, sexualities, attack styles, you get the deal. And a lot of challenges nudge you to utilize multiple elements and playstyles to overcome said challenge. Though, instead of switching out characters like you would in Gandhi Impact, you switch out weapons instead. It's fast, fluid, fluent, funky, and makes you really feel like a gambling addict. There's this thing that happens where if you dodge right when an enemy attacks, you freeze time and get to use an ult. and that's pretty fucking cool. Each weapon can be upgraded and modified extensively to fit a certain build, and using certain weapon types classifies you as a tank, healer, or DPS, just with quirky names, and you can freely switch them out, almost whenever you want, much like Love Live's extended cinematic universe. I think the combat is very swag, and I like it. A lot of people compare the game to Genshin, trying to pick which one is better, which one excels at what, and which one fails at this, or that, or the other thing, etc. And taking into account the similarities, that being the big tits and the gambling, I don't really think it's fair to be a prick and argue about it. It's like console wars, except even more embarrassing for yourselves because they're anime titty games. You got a skill issue, IRL, real life, get past it, grow as a person. When Gangsta Impact is a solo game with multiplayer. Tower of Autobiography is a multiplayer game with solo play, and both titles excel at taking inspiration from other games and creating a unique experience out of them, with their own flavors. While there's awkward gacha monetization, definitely an overwhelming amount of content tossed on you, and the time-gated gameplay model, which is a bit painful but not the end of the world, because that's my job, the game is free to play, fully enjoyable on your own or with friends, and has a blast all around. Not to mention, there's anime women with big tits. Oh, and also... say it with me, kids. Tiananmen Square. Nothing happened there. It's my favorite nursery rhyme. My mother used to sing it to me every single fucking day. Right, Chinese government? Because I gave slight criticisms regarding the monetization and other gameplay aspects of Tower of Fiction, I want the executives of the authoritarian Chinese central government to know something. If you enjoy big tits, flashy bang bang combat, jumping all around with a jetpack, hoverboards, elevator guns, and Rubik's Cubes, or genocide, then I suggest talking to a licensed counselor or psychotherapist. However, if all else fails, consider checking out Tower of Western homoerotic fanfiction. It's free to play, hot off the press, and extremely fun. I give it a fuck you out of 6. I don't fucking know. Thank you to the wondrous brokers who supply me with the goblin gold required to feed myself on my Patreon and Twitch. You will forever be cherished. I promise not to use any of your doubloons you have gracefully granted me on gambling for anime tits. You have my word. Wink. Alright, I don't know. Tower of Shakespearean tragedy. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye.